Hello, everyone. My name is Adlane Fellah. Welcome to today's webinar entitled Monitoring and Optimizing Wi-Fi in Times of COVID-19. I'm very excited to have today two great speakers, Professor Turgay Ural, who's a network engineer at Turknet, and Mustafa Ergen, who's the founder of Ambient. For those who don't know me, I'm Adlane Fellah, Senior Analyst at Maravedis, and we're very happy to organize this webinar today. So let's get started as we have a busy agenda for the next hour. So the agenda today is we'll be looking at some of the fundamentals driving the need for a good Wi-Fi experience in the home. Today, consumers experience their broadband mainly through Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is the technology that connects most of the devices in the home, from smart TVs to cameras and smartphones. Therefore, ensuring a great Wi-Fi performance is really key for service providers. We'll share with you some of the results of an extensive survey we've done, including one-on-one briefings with service providers from a report we published. We will look at the factors affecting the home Wi-Fi experience and how service providers are responding to them. Moving on to Turknet will share their experience with Wi-Fi orchestration. As a real live ISP and a leading innovator in the area, Turknet will be sharing some experience that they have had to manage with COVID-19 traffic surge. Last but not least, we'll hear a live demo by Ambient. Today's webinar is not just about trends and theory. It's about real life experience and how service providers can provide a good managed Wi-Fi experience. Just a few words about Maravedis for those that are familiar with us. We are a boutique analyst firm providing market research services as well as content marketing. Some of the areas we focus on include looking at Wi-Fi from the different angles of carrier Wi-Fi, enterprise and home, as well as convergence. We have been a research analyst firm since 2002, and we are the official research provider for the Wireless Broadband Alliance. Some of the services include the kind of webinars we're presenting today, but mostly our services provided to provide lead generation for customers, as well as business development services, and a whole series of content marketing outputs and deliverables. These are some examples of recent research reports. Some of them are free, and some other are paid for. So obviously 2019 was a very particular year for both Wi-Fi and some of the traffic surges. Even the stay-at-home restrictions are being eased in many countries. Still today, something about 1 in 3 humans are still confined in their homes due to COVID-19. So really the internet is being used at a scale that was never experienced before. The majority of households have now over 12 devices, and the number is growing exponentially with IoT. So this slide presents some statistics from the impact that COVID-19 has had on the internet performance. And there are a lot of statistics out there available, and you didn't want to overload the slide with numbers, but what's important here is that we have now a situation with almost 2 billion students working from home. So staggering numbers of 1 billion telehealth visits in the US alone in 2020. Some of the collaboration tools such as Microsoft Teams reported 900% growth in usage. Leading operators like Verizon reported 1,200% increase in US collaboration. So a lot of traffic surge, both downstream and upstream, and has resulted with a number of issues. Several sources indicate that 30% of homes have experienced a measurable home Wi-Fi coverage issues. during the confinement period. So this is definitely putting a lot of pressure on the operators' networks. This slide, the graph comes from a report we published. And what we asked was, what are the main reasons your customers are calling for support? As you can see here, slow Wi-Fi speed is the #1 reason triggering service calls. And it's followed closely by unstable Wi-Fi. All of these factors result in poor quality of experience that is measured in throughput, latency, stability of the connection. Historically, the operators have had little visibility on what was happening in the home, and therefore have been unable to diagnose and solve Wi-Fi related issues. Another important question we have asked to operators is to rank which factors are affecting the customer's home Wi-Fi experience. What was the source of the problem, so to speak? And the research shows that poor access point placement was the #1 cause of poor Wi-Fi performance. While there are many factors that can affect home Wi-Fi operation, placement of wireless access point is one of the most significant factors in performance. But another important factor is neighbor interference, which results in numerous issues, including low data rates, signal bleeding, bad roaming coverage, and even overspending on additional APs. So operators really have a challenge to provide clients with a good network connectivity with adequate throughput and minimal interference. What we're showing here is that bad connectivity and bad quality of experience has a cost. Subscribers are typically unable to resolve the Wi-Fi issues and have to contact their service providers. This lack of customer ability to solve Wi-Fi problems results in service providers high operating costs caused by ineffective or lengthy support calls, costly truck rolls for on-site service, and wrong CPE replacement. As the figures show, and of course the figures will vary from region to region and from country and operators, but they're significant. And the impact on the operator's bottom line is real. So the service providers really have an incentive to solve the problem, and not only to improve their operating expenditures line, but also to improve their net promoter score and reduce churn rates. If you want to read more about the impact of the COVID-19 on internet usage as well as Wi-Fi, you can read a couple of white papers we wrote for Ambient. They're available on the Ambient's website. And this is all from me now. I would like to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Turgay Ural from Turknet. Let's do the screen sharing here.
Well, thank you very much, Adlane. By the way, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar. My name is Turgay Ural. I'm the Research and Development Coordinator at Turknet. I also, as Adlane said, happen to be a network engineer. Now, I have some slides which I will share on the screen with you. Right. Oh. Okay.
There you go.
Right. Now today, I'm going to talk about our customers' happy experience with Ambient's Wi-Fi application. By the way, I should mention here that Ambient and Turknet have been working together as partner companies for the last 3 to 4 years. Now, Turknet as a service provider, we conduct operational tests evaluating Ambient's advanced technology products. And we also cooperate in research and development activities. We run a number of projects together, mainly in the domain of network monitoring and control. Um, right, a little bit of company pitch. My company, Turknet, is a family-owned company. It was established in 1996 as a telecommunications company with currently about 500,000 private subscribers and with many SME and corporate customers. In 2020 and 21, we have been selected as the service provider offering the fastest connection, first on internet and second on stream. We have around 350 personnel working for the company, and we have a research and development center with more than 50 staff, mostly technical staff, of course. We are the first in providing ADSL, multi-protocol label switching VPN services in our country. We have an extended local loop unbundling infrastructure, as well as fiber optic links, both backbone and fiber to the home. In addition to all that, we also provide hosting and data services to local and international clients. So this sets the background for our company, which is, I think we're the number 4 at the moment, number 4 internet service providers provider in Turkey. Now, a few words about home internet Wi-Fi problems during the COVID era. Now, due to the pandemic, working from home, as you all know, is fast becoming the rule in most parts of the world, and Turkey is no exception by any means. Number of devices, laptops, phones, and the like that connect to the internet has gone up drastically during this era. Now, internet infrastructures, health, and the quality of home connections becomes crucial for education, productive work, and in general, citizens' well-being. Now, we have observed that internet problems that were relatively unimportant in the past have now become showstoppers. So according to a recent research finding in Turkey, Wi-Fi problems are seriously impacting about 83% of users in the entire Turkey. And more than 50% of our customers' complaints are due to home Wi-Fi problems, especially in urban areas where majority of the people live in apartment buildings and poor Wi-Fi experience is a result of local interference from adjacent or nearby homes or office users sharing overlapping Wi-Fi frequencies channels. Some Wi-Fi home coverage problems and the consequent degradation, such as low internet speeds, result from poor modem and router placement, as Adlane has addressed in his opening remarks. Now, the problem is shown here. Here we are, and then our neighbors, and we're using our different modems, and we just happen to be using the same channel, channel 6 in this case. And what happens is that the total capacity is bounded by the lowest modem's capacity if we use the same channel. So we thought we should do something about that, and thanks to Ambient's solution, we have found the solution. Now, this is how we solve the problem. The Ambience application, which is a mobile application, which is downloaded on smartphones. And the user just switches on improve my Wi-Fi network, and all that information, all the Wi-Fi information at home as well as neighbors' homes, they go to the cloud of Ambient, and there it's optimized, and a signal is sent through the network to the user modem to change the channel in an optimal way. Now, you may ask why we chose Ambient's solution. Well, that decision was made back in 2019, and when we experienced the Wi-Fi problems, and then of course, during the COVID era, those problems increased drastically. The main reason why we selected Ambient Wi-Fi solution is mainly because it doesn't require integration. It's a standalone application, and it's self-healing. It's remotely reconfigurable. So all the information is sent to the cloud, and automated response is sent to the modem. Its fast installation is one of the key things that made us choose that solution. And the performance monitoring is actually possible by the customer itself. Now, this diagram shows a number of solutions, competitive solutions. Here, I show about 4 of them. And in each case, starting from scalability, business-to-business integration time, user centricity, all the way to Wi-Fi offloading, Ambient solution by far turned out to be the best. And that is why we chose that solution. Now, starting in 2020, the Turkish Turknet customers have been offered with this Wi-Fi solution optimization application. And Ambient has it for both iOS and Android platforms. Now, during that period, starting in 2019, the number of Android applications downloaded by Turknet subscribers has now exceeded 200,000. This solution allows us to quickly observe Wi-Fi performance issues with our user community. Originally, we started using the network monitoring feature first, and during the last 3 months, we started using Wi-Fi performance optimization technology, which is Ambient's analytics-driven and end-user digital experience monitoring solution. This is particularly important in working from the home context. This is one-of-a-kind technology which optimizes performance of each user by monitoring individual users' Wi-Fi performance, modem information, and connection quality, as well as end-user usage patterns. For example, their location within the home and the traffic type they use. In that way, it also helps in precise and dynamic monitoring of the service quality experienced by all users. Now, most significantly, the Ambient's software technology enables any modem to be controlled remotely without deploying new modem hardware or without the need for updating router firmware. Now, I must add that certain old model customer modems had no capability of being remotely controlled for adjusting the modem channel for optimal. I'm sorry, I am hitting the wrong things. Right. Back to the right slide. So in this case, certain old model customer modems with no capability of being remotely controlled, we asked Ambient to whether they could write software to enable those modems to be remotely controlled. And that indeed they did. So at the moment, most of the modems that are being used by our subscribers are now in this category, thanks to Ambient's software adjustment right that enables these modems to be remotely controlled. Now, let me go into some of the measurements that we did starting in, these are the measurement results in 2020. That shows the total number of our customers as 400,000, and more than 200,000 applications have been downloaded. And about half our subscribers' homes have therefore been monitored by using this application. Now, the ones that we have done, we have used is the number of customers that we have improved. The Wi-Fi connection is shown in the blue diagram below. And that's just rather considerable. It's in the order of 100,000 households as of late. So that's a big improvement that we have introduced to our customers through the use of this software. Now that is our latest measured results. We have, these are the results that we obtained in February. And again, we have done a lot of improvement in the homes of our customers. Now, summary of our results. Ambient's channel optimization algorithms, together with this technology enabling a remote allocation, has had quite a drastic impact on our customers' use and their Wi-Fi experience. We see significant improvements in the performance. For some subscribers, the improvement was almost 100%, full improvement. Now, all this translates into better customer experience, of course. And we have experienced 25% drop in customer complaints received at our call centers. We're still evaluating our customers' responses, but preliminary results indicate that the expected net promoter score figure is going to be better than 60, between 60 and 80. So that is a big, big improvement. Now, use of this now, another thing that we need to mention here is timelines, time to improve Wi-Fi. The minute our users use the button saying improve my Wi-Fi performance, it's almost instantaneous. The improvement happens almost instantaneously, but in any case, less than 1 second. So the improvement is instant. The user, our customer, experiences that, and that's a big boost in their confidence in this application. This, of course, coupled with its fast installation, just downloading takes about less than half a minute, and its use is very, very easy. And in addition to all that, we have integrated this with our own Wi-Fi application. So the customer can use separately our application as well as the application that we obtained from Ambient. Now, the lessons learned, I try to capture it is in this slide. First of all, we have to contact our customers. Just tell them to use this application or how to use this application. It's very easy, but unless we tell them how to use it, they may have no clue as to how to use it. So they needed to be educated, which took very little time, for us. Now, another lessons learned that we experienced, we found that the successful technology deployment requires close collaboration between the tech company and the operator. So as I said in the beginning, Ambient produces, does the technology, produces the product, and we passes it to us, and we as the operator, we use it, and together we evaluate the results. And if there are any shortcomings, we go back to the company, Ambient. We tell them how to improve or what parts of it should be improved, and they do exactly that. So in this regard, we also conduct joint research and development to enable Ambient with the hindsight, the benefit of the hindsight from the operator as to how those products could be improved for better customer experience. Now, another challenge that we are facing, and we're trying to solve this problem as well at the moment, is other Wi-Fi problems that is experienced by our customers, mainly poor placement of internet devices, the modem, and the such. Now, we're now working together with Ambient on some future deployment of Ambient's smart ticket toolkit. Now, with the use of this, which we're in the process of studying, before we embark on its usage, we expect significant, much better customer satisfaction using this technology. Now, a joint network performance Wi-Fi optimization solution that we are developing at the moment is going to improve our customer satisfaction. So with this, I end my presentation here, and any questions that we can get from the audience, most welcome. Thank you, Adlane, for that.
Thank you, Turgay. Great presentation. We're going to leave the questions for the end. We have a number of questions coming in. I have some questions myself. But let's move on to Mustafa Ergen, who's the CEO and founder of Ambient, and is going to provide the practical steps to first present Ambient for those who are not familiar with the company, and then what is it, what's in the store for them in terms of the application. Mustafa, can you unmute yourself?
Thank you very much. I hope you hear me. And I'm going to present a live demo of Turknet. And before that, I would like to introduce Ambient. So we started Ambient to solve the unlicensed spectrum problem. We know that Wi-Fi is an unlicensed spectrum, and it works for connectivity, but there's a huge waste in the system. Regardless of how much you pay for the fiber or high-end router, your neighbor literally interfere you. So it's like you want to go with the Ferrari, but there is a old moving car in the intersection, you have to wait. And that results in a poorer customer experience. And we tackled this problem from the beginning, and the groundwork started in Berkeley, and we started with a seed funding in late 2016. Today, we have three ISPs. Our systems are in use, and we will feature Turknet today. And we are recognized by the industry, and we are listed as the top 5 startup in Telecom Council, Mobile World Congress, Wireless Broadband Alliance. We couldn't get the top award yet, but we got into European Commission's EIC Accelerator Program, which is the prestigious and hard to get accelerator of Europe that allowed us to get acknowledged by our technology in European operators. Today we focus ISP, but you will see that the same platform can be in use for enterprises that we are testing with pilots today, hotels, educational venues, large venues like shopping malls, OTT customers or work from home enterprises can use this system to monitor and optimize their Wi-Fi performance. And the same platform can be used for CBRS and 5G because we have the device side and the cloud side, and they can bring this 5G private with Wi-Fi 6E using our spectrum engine, optimization engine, classification engine, and recommendation engine. We partially overlap with some of the industry categories, especially with managed Wi-Fi, AI ops, digital experience management, network diagnostic and performance management, and inter-service provider orchestration and customer service. And we have partial overlaps, and you will see why we overlap with these categories. So far, we have more than 30 team members, mainly engineering team, and span over 3 countries. And that is supported by a sales team covering major ISPs worldwide. So our platform from the beginning is device-centric, and we position because we want to achieve zero integration, which means that our time to market is less than a month, and our competitors' time to market is at least 2 to 3 years. And we leverage the mobile phones, which is around like at least $500 phones as compared to the SCP, which is around $50 to $20. So it has more capability and it better represents the user. So we want to capture the user experience and we want to optimize the user experience. We don't want to optimize the network. We want to first optimize the user experience. That's why we started from the device-centric perspective. And we do 3 things: diagnostic and monitoring. We do optimization of the spectrum. So our platform is spectrum first, and we also have prediction, like a forecasting mechanism. You will see that machine learning is and artificial intelligence is built in every part of our technology. So let me jump from my presentation to a real demo. So this is a live screen. This is a dashboard used by Turknet. So Turknet last year, we integrate our SDK inside their mobile applications. They already have a mobile application for their customers that's downloaded by their subscribers. And what we did is we put our SDK inside that application, and next day they started to observe a dashboard like this. So they know, how many active customers, active users are there. They know how many access points are detected by those users, how many measurements are coming. For instance, as of now, this is the active users, and the system predicts what will be the active user next hour, 2 hours from now on, 3 hours from now on. So this is around like 7 p.m. now on, and we will be reaching a prime time. So system has a prediction mechanism with the aggregated information. So we have accumulated metrics, and we have a detailed metrics for per customer. I will start with the accumulated metrics. So typically ISPs want to know what is unknown to them. So a architectural setting is unknown to them. So they provide a fiber, they provide a high-end router, but they don't know where the user is living. Is it a single family home? Is it a multi-story building? Whether their neighbors are interfering them, it's unknown to them. So we classify subscribers day by day and week by week, and who are suffered by neighbor interference. So you can see from here that which customers are suffered by neighbor interference, and operator knows it, and they can notify the customers and that, look, there is something wrong with your architectural setting because of where you live, and you should be aware of this. And our SDK inside the application does active tests. So one of them is a speed test, and it checks regularly a typical speed of the customers. And if speed is low, then the ISP can create a rule to notify the customer, or to check the lines, or to notify the other parts of their departments. And this speed test is from a client to a server close to the ISP. And we also have a Wi-Fi speed estimation, which is different than this speed test. This is client to the access point. Typically, in order to do that in the real environment, we have to put a server attached to the access point, which is almost impossible to make it like millions of households. What we did is that we have a machine learning algorithm to estimate the Wi-Fi speed. So we train this machine learning, and with the real input, so we predict what the Wi-Fi speed is. And this is an important metric, because if Wi-Fi speed is high and the speed test is low, then the ISP understand that this is not a Wi-Fi problem, this is a line problem, and they create a ticket towards that direction. So this is also used for another perspective. In many countries, there's a regulative authority. They want to make sure that ISP brings the speed to the household. So they also want to make sure that, you know, the speed came to the household, but of course, because of neighbor interference, because of something else, it degraded. But ISP's job is done. So we also checked the access point placement. Maybe technician didn't do the job well, didn't use enough amount of cable, and didn't place the access point correctly. So that could be another truck roll. Or maybe technician did the job well, but somebody covered the access point with something else, put it underneath the TV, or somehow access point starts working in a bad environment. So we create an alarm for those situations, and ISP knows that this is a problem of access point placement. And all they need to do is send a notification to the customer and to tell them, reposition the access point. You will have a better experience. Maybe access point placement is okay, but that could be a coverage hole. So with COVID era, right, every part of the home is the office, and people are experiencing a different Wi-Fi experience. So ISP wants to know that, look, which customers are having that problem persistently. They want to offer them Wi-Fi 6E boxes or mesh boxes. So they want to identify which customers are suffered for coverage holes. We also try to understand the old router, old iPhones, old Androids, old laptops, so that, you know, legacy devices should be unplugged. Because if somebody starts a Zoom with a nice computer and nice access point, a nice fiber connection, if somebody opened the old Android and start using it, it throttles the bandwidth as well. So this is data rate, like link layer speed, is checked and monitored so that they can identify the legacy devices and then recommend customer to unplug them. We check the local latency for gaming population. Turknet, for instance, is used by gaming population. They really picky about the ping statistic. They really picky about the bandwidth, and we check it for them. And we check the connected devices. If there are sudden jumps, maybe the password is cracked and somebody else is using the Wi-Fi access point. And we also check these connected devices before optimization and after optimization. We want to make sure that all the connected devices are connected after the optimization. And we check the complaint possibilities, whether the subscribers are likely to file a complaint or not. And if they are in the red zone, Turknet can create a predictive action and then notify the customers or try to solve the problem before they complain Turknet. So we also get information from Turknet to make the machine learning better here. And we check the YouTube statistic, streaming quality, and we check the first input delay to the YouTube. So they want to make sure that streaming is flawlessly going in their network. And overall, we look at the optimization required metric, and before optimization and after optimization, this in our system with our centralized collaborative optimization mechanism, it will be balanced and then be stable. Overall, we create a Wi-Fi health score. This is fed to CTO office. This is fed to networking department. But if it is a mobile plate operator, this is used for Wi-Fi offloading. So if they want to do voice over Wi-Fi, they can use this metric and then make sure that at that hour of the day, Wi-Fi is in good quality, and when they offload the voice traffic, it will have a higher customer score. So this is the accumulated metrics, and every accumulated metrics has prediction mechanism built in. So you can predict what will happen next hour. You can predict how your network will look like next hour, 2 hours from now, or next week. So the system has a vertical and horizontal machine learning algorithm. It uses the prediction from starting from the day to this hour, plus it takes this hour, previous weeks of this hour, 2 weeks from this hour, and do a vertical prediction mechanism. So since we are in the client side, we can also look at the wired side of the network. And what we do is we check the wired network from the Turknet clients towards google.com, for instance. This is google.com, and this is the last hop in Turkey towards google.com. And maybe I can go to 3D version. So the yellows are Turknet points, nodes, and the blue are Türk Telekom. Türk Telekom is the incumbent service provider. So Turknet mainly use their services. And if one of the BGP router is misbehaving and dropping packets, Turknet customers experience or think that this is a Wi-Fi issue, and they start calling the Turknet that there's something wrong in the Wi-Fi. So for subscriber, everything is Wi-Fi problem unless otherwise noted. But here they can look at the wired network, and if one of the router is misbehaving, they create ticket towards Türk Telekom. And they can go one step further. They look at we monitor all the pop points from their client side. So for instance, towards google.com, we know the number of problems, user problem, hub problem. These are all classified, and we can check all the pop points of Turknet customers, and they can go in detail towards any customers that are affected, and from here they can go to a detailed page of the customer. And this detailed page can be used in many departments in the ISP, but mainly contact center agent use this page. When somebody calls, they understand what's going on in the network without making lengthy conversation or without making a reset or speed test. They know, for instance, 29 minutes ago, we got the information from this customer. This customer almost have a neighbor interference, which is less than 50, which is low. Wi-Fi speed and speed test is almost equal, and data rate is almost okay. And you will see that it's almost in the middle of nowhere at the far end of the network, the far end of the country. And when we look at this customer's behavior, this uses in the after night, maybe in the morning, he's not using this service. As you can see, we have few data. So there's a hop problem detected in March 2nd. We check, where the problem is. So this details page is crafted for every customers. And the next step is, as Mr. Turgay mentioned, this will be smart ticketed. So we will have AI algorithm to understand, look, there is a problem here because there are similar inputs before, and that created a complaint, and that complaint solved with a solution. So why can't I predict that and then create the ticket before they call it. So this will further reduce the contact center cost for Turknet. So overall, they can also have a bird's eye view to the network, and they can see every detail about their network. And the next feature will be color coding of this per city level and municipality level. And if a city is red or a municipality county is red, then they will pinpoint the problem of that station, and they will send a technician towards there. So in terms of neighbor interference, it's coded, data rate, it is coded, quality is coded, and you can go details of every customer from here. For instance, I can go a good one. So these are all details of customers, and since we are device-centric, I would also try to explain why we didn't choose to put a firmware inside an access point. As you can see, these are the Turknet's access points. These are in use. This could be distributed by Turknet, or this could come from the previous ISP of the Turknet. So they keep their AP and then continue using with the Turknet. As you can see, there are a wide variety of makes. And when we look at one of them, there are many models. So if you are going to make a CP-centric solution, we have to put an agent inside an access point, and there are many makes and models, so which will be impossible to make a firmware, and most of them are buggy access points, and rolling out this, getting a permission from the ISP will take at least 2-3 years. Plus, it won't be the better representation of the user, because the user experienced this. Access point thinks that users are in a homogeneous circle, and they have no notion of the user. So these are also color coded, and with respect to user experience. So we can see that, for instance, ubiquity, right? It has low user experience. And if I look at this ubiquitous model, most of them are unidentified because enterprise, this is enterprise. But if I look at Zyxel, for instance, I can see all the makes, and so I can go details of the Zyxel gateway in that make and model, how it behaves in 2.4 GHz, in 5 GHz. So these are also important because we correlate the user experience with the access point model. Of course, user experience has many ingredients, but access point hardware, access point capability is also one of the major ingredients. So the ISP look at this chart, and when they make a next decision about an access point make a model, they can look at this chart, can guide them. And about what the next AP model will look like in terms of procurement. So we also check the devices. For instance, right now we exceed 242 devices, and we try to predict the Android operating system distributions. So Android 10 is 45.5% as of now, and 3 months later, it will be 48%. 6 months later, it will be 52.5%. This is important for the ISP because Android 10 comes with different restrictions and different availabilities. So they want to predict what their network will look like 3 months later or 6 months later. And they know, which type of devices are in their network. And this is on the Android today, but iOS also in use. And the desktop models will also have the PC laptop versions of this. So overall, we also create a top 100 likelihood of bad experience. So with respect to different customer IDs and different statistic, and this could be also created a rule, and the rule can generate certain actions towards the subscriber. So this is a living console, and this is available for Turknet, and Turknet can also create a subversion to their enterprise customers, their retail chain customers, because they have the main version, and the subversion can be utilized as well as make it available to their customers. So let me go back to my presentation.
Well, let me make a point here, which is very important. Our operational tests are still ongoing. Now, Mustafa has mentioned this application has so many features, and then we're trying to digest what the ones that we haven't used so far are going to bring us by way of customer satisfaction. So I had to make this point just to make sure that our operational tests are not concluded yet.
Thank you. So these are the monitoring and prediction, and I will also try to give a few points about our optimization mechanism. Unlike the other optimization mechanisms in the industry, which are distributed, our optimization is a centralized and collaborative optimization, which means that we have a optimization engine in the cloud, and mobile apps ask what's the best channel for that access point, and we solve that problem. So we have a relation of access point to access point relation, access point to device relation, and we solve a huge optimization problem, and we speed it up with an AI techniques, and we can tell within a minute which access point should operate in which channel. So this is a centralized mechanism. This is not a rocket science, but this is applicable in mobile generations from the beginning, and we built the same thing for unlicensed spectrum. So this engine can be used by any AP vendor or any ISP. This is service provider agnostic. And for instance, in a neighborhood, so two of them could be Turknet customer, and the other two neighbors could be our other customers, but we optimize all of them at the same time. So it's a win-win situation, and that makes the system stable. Otherwise, we have to work with the distributed mechanism that hops whenever they find the empty channel, but one of them hops, hopping the other access points in the neighborhood, and it becomes a mess. So with this centralized and collaborative mechanism, we want to remove the waste in the Wi-Fi. So there's a huge waste, and from the beginning, we started our startup with a spectrum first mentality. So this makes separation of the channels as much as possible. And the next step will be when we have widely available technology, what we are going to do is, that's in the vision, if Netflix is on and my neighbors are not in the Netflix, I will get a free channel, interference-free channel, and the rest of the channels will be distributed to my neighbors. Maybe Netflix will sell it with a premium price, and that price will be shared by us, my neighbors, and the ISP. So that's what we call application-aware channel allocation. And for Wi-Fi to become successfully operational in the future, we need such a scheme, because number of connected devices in the Wi-Fi is increasing exponentially, but available spectrum is not increasing. So every 10 years we ask for more spectrum, and we could only double the spectrum, but we have more than 25 connected devices as of now. And so far our results are very promising. We reach more than 80% success rate, and average performance increases as more than 156%. So if we change the channel, we make a lot of difference. So this tool, as Mr. Turgay mentioned, can be used by many departments in an ISP. Consumer experience management can use it to reduce the call center cost, reduce the churn. Call center agents use it to reduce the length of the conversation with the customer. Network department can predict their future OPEX and CAPEX spending. They can understand what their Wi-Fi network looks like. They can optimize with the existing software and firmware. If it is not enough, they look for better hardware. They look for better firmware. Digital departments can make it available in their apps. For instance, as you see, last year there were 50,000 downloads. Now it exceeds 240,000 downloads. So people engage with the mobile application more if they feed the Wi-Fi quality or Wi-Fi condition to the user. So it's more like a self-healing, self-service mechanism. Of course, mobile departments can use it if they want to do voice over Wi-Fi. And this dashboard can be available to the ISPs, enterprise customers as well. If they have a hospital chain, if they have a hotel chain, they can make a dashboard for their own use, for their own access point. That's all configurable. And they can make value-added services on top of their connectivity services. And these are all about what I'm going to talk today. And on our roadmap, we built a spectrum orchestration platform as of now, and Wi-Fi console and field console are in use. And we have additional features like hotel that we do room by room Wi-Fi quality. So we are saying that, when you want to check in the hotel, people are starting to ask whether it has Wi-Fi quality, if there's a Wi-Fi quality, if there's a superior Wi-Fi quality or not, like a Wi-Fi view room. So we have that technology available right now in our console. And the same way for enterprises, IT departments are extended towards homes, and they can monitor the connectivity of their remote users with the same tool. And the similar way, like streaming services can utilize this tool because the Wi-Fi is unknown to them. And unlike ISPs, if there's a lagging in the video, it's a streaming service problem. They forgot the ISP in that perspective. Same platform, we want to open up as a platform as a service to 5G licensed platforms, because we have a client and the cloud native platform, and our engines can be used by other service providers or other vendors, especially for 6 GHz where Wi-Fi and 5G are together. And similarly, our spectrum algorithms can be available for CBRS deployments too. So we have a growing and promising roadmap, and our focus is always spectrum first, and we want to solve the spectrum problem. Thank you very much. So maybe
thank you, Mustafa. We're almost at the top of the hour. I want to thank Zishan, Haider for great questions, which I think I'm going to require a bit more time to answer. So I would like to propose Zishan to organize a one-on-one with Ambient to answer your very interesting questions here, and we're very detailed. For respecting the time of the audience here, I do have a practical question for you, Mustafa. Like, if someone is really,
I can answer Zishan's question.
Okay, if you have time, then for that, let's at least tackle one here. Onur did answer part of the questions. One is, it's a great way to troubleshoot when you can see what client devices can see, but this is only from client's point of view. How do you capture information from hubs, access points, location?
So what we do is we create a relational database in our system. So what we leverage is we leverage the mobility of the client. So client is mobile and they move. When they move, they receive different RSSI level, different receive signal strength. So these are all aggregated in our system, and we create the access point to access point distance estimation. So this way we can create the location of the access point. So we use the statistic mainly to make sure to build a relation between access point to access point, access point to device.
Thank you.
Of course, there are several things. We also involve the time, because in the morning, at night, at the prime time, these are all blend into our equation.
Okay. Well, I see people are starting to leave, but before they leave, I would like to just make sure that the audience understands what the next step is. If they want to deploy Ambient, what do they need to do?
So they can try testing Ambient without asking us, because there is in enterprise.ambient AI, or in our web page, there is a login account. So they can create a dashboard for their own use. So they can download our mobile applications and start experiencing a dashboard on their own. And if they want to do a massive test, like more than 1K or 10,000 subscribers, what we can provide is, we can have provide our SDK inside their existing applications, and they can start testing it. So on their own, they can create their own dashboard for their home use or for their enterprise use, and they can experience by downloading our available applications. And the next step could be utilizing or making maybe more than 1,000 users, so that experiencing the customer experience side of it, how it reduces the cost, how it increases the customer satisfaction, to create more, to build more metrics around the benefit of the platform.
Okay, so there is a document that we can share, I guess, with the audience on how to install the application and what are the step-by-step process to start experiencing that on your mobile devices, and then move on to perhaps a more scale proof of concept type of thing. So, and I encourage everybody in the audience to email either Mustafa or myself to request a one-on-one demo and briefing to answer your particular questions. We are already at the end of the webinar. I really want to thank Turgay for this excellent presentation. I'm sorry we have the opportunity to answer to ask you questions, and I had quite a number of them. But this event has been recorded. It will be made available in the next 24 hours. I want to thank everybody for their participation. Thanks for Ambient for sponsoring this webinar, and we'll be in touch. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Adlane. Thanks for everyone. Bye-bye.